I was hitting go live, so not being rude, I answered it. And, that's kind of what I do. I'm not really known as a rude guy. Comment section.
You're not known as a rude guy, or in person, you're
No,
not
no, no.
really a rude guy?
Actually, you've met me in person, so I'm actually a rude guy in person too. So it's kind of funny. No, we're gonna talk today for a little bit anyway about how we got into the trades, kind of maybe our first reactions when we got there, what our goals were, and advice we would give to somebody that's maybe looking to get in. What's up,
Yeah.
Budsville? We're glad to have you here tonight. So I'm going to start my fuzzy peach. Oh, I added an R. What the?
It happens.
Yeah, boy, Ram. Hi, guys. So my story, I actually got started in an unusual way. So when I was, oh my God, probably a sophomore in high school, going sophomore to senior, my parents, for the first time in their lives, had bought a house. Now, the house that they had purchased had been a dog kennel, and it was, let's just say, in rough shape, because the people that had it before, they really didn't appreciate dogs, and they didn't really clean up after them. So when we got into it, it was basically a house built on a concrete slab. Um, there was no, it's terrible. There was no floor. It was literally, the house was built on a concrete slab, and the concrete was your floor.
Dang.
So you can imagine, not really all that comfortable. What's up, Panther? Howie Z? Lawan. Sorry if I missed anybody. So we got this in the summer, and we spent, I can't say we. Yes, it is, Morgans. I can't say we spent the summer. I can only say me, because that was truthfully the way it was. Uh, I had to run plumbing into the house and basically hook it all up. So I had to learn how to uh, hang upside down in a well that was only 18 inches wide. And thank God I was not quite as robust as I am now. I could do that. And I had to learn how to put a filter in. Then I had to dig a trench from the well that was on the property all the way to the house. And because it was in New York, you have to go below 4 feet.
Oh, dang.
So, yeah, that was all hand dug, because my dad wasn't going to rent a ditch witch or have an excavator come in to make anything very good. Then I had to learn how to wire a water pump, do all of the plumbing in the house, and that's how I spent my summer.
Wow.
I had to install a toilet, kitchen sink, kitchen bathroom sink, and the bathtub and shower, and I had to do it all by myself.
Wow.
My dad, not a handy guy, not at all. So we get that accomplished. I go back to school. I'm playing basketball in school. I'm tutoring after school, and I'm starting to take college prep classes, or college level classes, to get a head start on college. And come the winter, which is my busiest time, everybody else's least busy time, it's my busiest time because that's when everything's hitting. I get woken up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and my dad says, well, I want to redo the walls in the house. I want to take out all the carpet, or, well, they didn't really have carpet, but they had like burlap laid down.
Dang.
And he's like, I want to do all of this. So my brother and I were carrying all the furniture out while everybody else is sleeping. My dad, by the way, not what you would call a consistent worker, a very inconsistent worker. And he would sleep all day while we were at school because he wasn't working. He was unemployed. He was a bum.
Yeah.
So he's got us doing this. First job was learning how to put in a subfloor, and then while the house is built, by the way, and and then laying down carpets, tacking them, learning how to stretch, learning how to sew the carpets together to hide the seams and whatnot.
I was back before they had the heat tape and all that
Oh yeah.
nonsense, right?
Oh
Yeah.
no, you're using freaking adhesive. It's freaking glue that's going down. All right.
Yeah.
So learning how to do all of that, and then we had to learn how to do.
You watched
Cons-
a bunch of VCG videos on how to
oh,
do
I
it.
I did. And as a matter of fact, I'm still waiting for him to do one right. Anyway, uh, and then we had to learn how to do the walls. So by the time we're going into the basketball playoffs, which I am going to be away for because we're traveling to do the playoffs, right? My dad comes to me and he's like, well, we got to get this done before you go.
Dang.
So I basically, for about 2 weeks, I was going on an hour to 2 hours of sleep a day to get everything done. And I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite times of my life because I got to, first of all, I had no idea what I was doing when I started.
Right.
Basically had more of an understanding of what I was doing by the end, but it was always something. Like I was always learning something, and that's what really drove me. I love learning things. Oh, and by the way, if you want to piss off your
Was
mother,
it Mitchell?
wake her up with a Cirque saw, that high pitch of a Black and Decker Cirque saw from the 1970s. That
Yeah.
like the pitch of it is unreal.
And that
What's
trigger,
up,
that
creature?
undeniable
Oh,
click, right? That thing's
yeah.
on or off. It's like
Oh, yeah.
clack.
Oh, yeah. It's
Full bore.
terrible. And once you start it and you let it run for a few minutes or a few seconds, it takes like 3 minutes for it to stop.
Right. If the guard is
Right?
still on it, you're in
Yeah.
good shape.
You're setting it like you're hanging it over the
Workpiece. Yeah.
yeah. But you wake your mother up with one of those at 2 or 3 in the morning, and she's got to be to work at 6. She ain't happy, but work's got to be done.
Dang.
So we just ended up. That's kind of how I got into it, and then that summer, so
Juan had
summer
that.
summer of my junior year, I get I'm looking for a job. Like we got to help support the household, because dad's still not working. Dad not really a worker. Dad's still not working. We need money coming in.
Dang.
I went to work doing home reno with a little local construction company. Started out, by the way, roofing is probably the worst thing that a human being can do. It's just terrible on you.
I don't envy that job at all.
No, no. So it was that's how I got into it, and I would not have even considered it because I athlete student, like I was a smart kid. I'm kind of a dumbass adult, but I was a smart kid. And I would have never even considered it had my dad not gone ahead and made us do a whole home reno. And then I got into, like, went from roofing to doing the cuts for the builds. right? So
Right.
doing the little trim work and whatnot, really learning how to use a circ saw correctly, how to use other tools correctly. And then it just kind of went from there. And I spent the next 32 years doing uh, different types of trade work before, thankfully, I was able to retire.
Interesting.
What about you? What'd you do? How'd you get
Well,
into this whole crazy thing?
well, you also did the solar thing too. So you,
Yeah.
and then okay, we'll get back to that.
Well, that was later. That was later.
Right, right. All right. So, from Bermuda, right? So, island, 25 miles long, 5 miles wide.
Yep.
Um, everything's very expensive. You've been to Hawaii and seen how much milk
It's
or bread
it's
is?
now the same size as his colon. Sancho.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
Right. So, you don't buy anything, get it shipped, and then install it in your house. Pretty much, you pay somebody that's a craftsman to wrap it around your house, custom, because it's the exact same price as buying something at the store that's been shipped.
Sure.
Um, so you're putting your money into something. You
Hey,
you really
Noah.
don't have a Walmart. You don't have like these superstores with all this prefab stuff anyway. You just don't have it.
Right.
So my dad, I think his father was a carpenter and built, a couple of notable restaurants and things like that all around. And my dad inherited a house, a very large house with a shop on it, and taught himself how to do carpentry. And there was no YouTube on how to do that. It was just started doing it. Um, his dad didn't really teach him too much, but he had all
Wow.
the tools, and he figured out how to do like fine woodwork and stuff. So that's what him and my mom did, and they were, married, and she kind of like helped run the business and hold work pieces and stuff, and he did most of just about everything. And they also did like a little renovation company while they did that. So we've never really had a house that's never been under renovation. And when they sold that large house, they bought a smaller house, and it was missing floors, windows, walls, roof, and ceiling and everything else. It's just a shell of a house. And
Right.
for a couple of months, they lived in a tent in the living room and just renovated and built the house while they're living in it. So that was just the normal. So it was always a plan to do something with trades. There was never a second thought about what I was going to do. I just didn't know what trade I was going to do.
Right.
And as I got older, I felt like electrical was something that was the one thing my dad didn't know how to do. He could sheetrock, he could tile, he could plumb, he could do everything. But electrical, he always hired out.
Right.
And I thought, that's the one that I want to learn. It was always the most interesting to me when I saw the electrician come to the house, and it's different because my dad wasn't doing it. So I was watching someone else do it. So I was watching. And that's what I always wanted to do. So I didn't know that you could practically go to any electrical company and call them and say, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" And they would say, "Hell yeah, we're hiring." Right. So
Right.
I started going to college for a trade school for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And I did 4 years of trade school with hands-on labs and how to troubleshoot. And they would go in there, they'd mess something up, or maybe you had to wire this control with a timer and a relay and different things
Right.
like that. And you would have to like real time troubleshoot and figure out about the circuit and learn about the theory and all that stuff. The last 2 years that I was doing my schooling for heating, ventilation, air conditioning, I joined IEC, which is it's kind of like a union, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not unionized. It's a school that logs your hours. They guarantee you where you're going to work. And essentially the school owns you, but they find you that contractor that you work for. And they log your
Okay.
hours. They guarantee your raises every 1,000 hours. You're going to get roughly about $1. And once you don't have to become a journeyman, but once you get to that level, you're making at least, probably now at least $22. The school will
Right.
guarantee you $22. Back then, they guaranteed you about $18. You started about $11, $12 and worked your way up. So whether you get your license or not, you're still getting a somewhat of a decent wage for not having a license.
Right.
But ultimately, you're going to get one. So that's pretty much my upbringing with that. And yeah,
What's up, Caleb?
I'm looking up.
He always looks obtuse. He always looks obtuse. Well, the reason I decided to talk about this tonight, well, first of all, we were supposed to have our tool draft, but I'm not saying any names, Joshua. Forgot to send the list over as to what he wanted us to draft. So we decided to do something a little last minute, as I kept hoping he would send over something, but Joshua didn't. The person Joshua didn't. So I hope I get this through to Joshua, Mr. Wilson. He didn't send over his list as opposed to going through my old list. I thought we'd do something different. But the reason the topic happened tonight, or this topic is on tonight, is because I got something that I don't think a lot of homeowners or DIYers should tackle, because it hits on construction and electrical. And the electrical part of it in particular, I would tell the average DIYer to not do. And it was one
All
of
right.
these things.
Oh man.
So I did get a mini split. Now, in all honesty, a company sent this to me because I have been, for the last 3 years, been using one of these, which it occupies one of my power cords over there, or my receptacles over there.
Yeah.
In the winter or in the summer, and then in the winter, this one occupies that receptacle. So I decided, in my very finite wisdom, to accept one of these, and I am going to install it myself, soup to nuts, including the electrical, which I am
Soup to nuts. Make sure
which
it's not hot.
Whoa, it's going to be hot. I live in Missouri, so
You're gonna scorch them.
So I am going to do the electrical part, even though I am not an electrician. So I'm going to be installing the AC disconnect and doing the whole 10 yards.
Nice.
Or
Don't put the
9
disconnect
yards.
behind the unit. We don't like that.
No, I'm actually going to put it about. So the way I'm going to run it is I've got this over here is a door, and that unit is going to go, which is why I am not fixing that paint just yet.
Right.
I got to strip that whole thing. But it's going to go right there. And then the outside unit is going to be directly behind me. And I am going to run the electric up. The disconnect is going to be right on this side of the door, maybe 5 or 6 feet up from the ground, so that I don't have to bend over, because I'm old and I'm fat. So I don't have to bend over to do the disconnect should something happen to the unit. But
Right.
here's the kicker, because not really an attic guy. Something about a fat man in an attic just doesn't seem right.
Right.
And the reason why it's going to go up that high is because I am going to take and run the cord that goes inside ultimately over the top of that door and into the wall, directly in line with my panel box inside.
Just run a 14-2 extension cord.
So I don't. No. I'm actually gonna. I bought the wire.
Nice.
I ended up. I was thinking. I was thinking I would just do like because it's a 120 volt unit. I was like, I'll do a 15 amp breaker and 14 3 wire. And then I got that wire and I was looking at it, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it right. So I went back, I got 12.3 and I'm going to run 12.3 the whole way. And I'm going to put it on a 20 amp double pole or double pole
Nice.
breaker.
Just do 120, just single pole breaker.
I'm going to do the double because I might increase the size of it at some point.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So I'm planning ahead.
So you
just to
just
make
tape
sure.
the neutral, I guess, and then just
Mhm.
do 240. Yeah, that'll work.
I'll
All
be
right.
all right.
So, Caleb or somebody asked me about why does my camera look good? It's just the lighting. Lighting does a lot. So, what I got the Grizzly light here, which is like a work light that I mounted to the wall, and then I've got a lot of light in the background, which, well, light behind you, it puts more depth for you.
Right.
And then I've got this light which diffuses really well off to the side.
There we go.
So,
It's all good,
it's,
Sharif.
it's just good light balance.
He does wear makeup, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm just naturally beautiful. So, just so we're clear on that. Jordan wanted to know, do you guys know how hard it is to turn a 220 volt welding hookup into a generator connection on my house?
Oh, pretty easily, actually. Let me see here. Very easily. Let me see here. Let me find that comment.
What's up, Rod the Bot? I can't highlight it because we're actually
Do
on
you
YouTube
know
right
how
now.
hard it is to run a 220 volt welding hookup into a generator connection to his house?
That's what he asked.
That's actually really easy. The problem is, just like the Kirk key thing that I've got on my panel.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? Maybe you didn't. Should I just show it real quick? I'm just going to show it.
Go ahead. Show it. This is where he shows us, like, on his computer what stuff looks like. No backfeeding. Rumor has it if you put a Makita battery on your bung, you
All right,
turn
so I haven't
into.
really decided
That
what
is
I'm going to do
true,
with this.
Southpaw.
Right now, this is the feeder, so it's just going to be a little 40 amp breaker that'll feed this eventually. That's why it's number 8 here.
Yeah.
And that's getting fed from the existing panel. And then I'm going to fur this wall out, and then I'm just going to sheetrock it all and run it straight up. But right here, this is the Kirk key thing. So this slides up and down. And the way this works is now I can throw my double pole breaker.
Yeah.
And the main will have to be off. So with that thing sliding up and down, it slides in front of these. You can't simultaneously turn these on at the same time. So it would be your best interest to take that welder breaker, which would be a 240, just like this, probably a 50 or a 30, and try to get it as close to your main as possible and figure out the configuration. Send me a picture of your panel. I can show you which one you need and tell you what to do. But
South Florida Tools is here. Morgan's Maintenance. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out Morgan's Maintenance, make sure to go over there and check him out. He's got a new channel. Caleb Ross is also here, also somebody with a channel. So make sure that you check both of them out
so
while you're at it.
you see, we can't throw this breaker off because this is in the way. I can't slide this up until I turn the main off. Main is off now. It's in the dark. And now
What's up, Miles?
I can slide this up and we can throw this breaker.
Right.
So right now, the main is off. I can't turn the main on. What I have to do, I have to throw this breaker here. This is going to drop automatically. And now I can throw the main breaker back on. And then it's got all these things that That's really all you gotta do. If you finish it already ready for wiring. If you've
Oh
got a
yeah,
generator, if you've got a generator, and you got a welder, all you're lacking is the right connection. You just gotta change your cord receptacle out.
What's up, B-Dub? Oh my God. You know, it's so funny, B-Dub, because I don't think this old house, like you and I are in the same boat. I don't think this old house started when I started um, doing stuff, started getting into home reno or any of that. I don't think there was a this old house on yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a will. Yeah, it's the same. So it's the same wire essentially. Just make sure that it's the same size wire. Make sure that the wire size is right, and you should be good to go. All you'd have to do is tie in, and then make sure that you've got the right control switch.
Yeah.
Time myself installing the AC unit, so I already know roughly how long it's going to take. It's going to take about 2 hours.
What's up, Wolf? Exactly.
It's going to take about 2 hours because I got to drill a hole through the wall, and I got to line it up, and then I've got to make sure that the piping that I've got, because I got a 4-inch hole saw bit. I'm doing well, Sharouche. I've got a 4-inch hole saw bit that I am going to take through the wall. But before I do that, and you can tell the difference because if you watch like other people do it or whatever, not a whole lot of pros doing it on YouTube. Anyway, so if you watch the guys that are doing it, the Learn to DIY, whoever, if you watch them do it, right?
Dang. Shots
They're
fired.
taking their hole saw through the wall first, and then they're going outside to the other side to drill the hole. And well, if you do it that way, your shit don't match up. Right? You're going to be just by human nature, you're going to be a little bit off.
Oh,
However, if you're intelligent, probably not me, but if you're intelligent, what you do is you take a really long drill bit first.
yeah.
And roughly a size below the bit that's going to be into the hole saw, the center of your hole saw. And you go all the way through the wall first.
Nice.
Then all you have to do is go through the drywall on one side and go through your siding on the other, and you just put the drill bit in that hole.
Just that's if you use your makita. It's gonna do this.
Yeah.
If you use your Milwaukee, it's just gonna go like this.
We're gonna do that. Yeah. But like I watch these guys and I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? Like that's typically at first of all, like they've got a little template. Well, mine didn't come with a template, at least not that I saw, and I already burnt the box. Nice. So I'm not really worried about it. But it comes with a template, and they're like, well, you put the template, and then you drill through the holes on the template. And I'm just like, this is hurting my brain watching some of these people work. So I decided I'm just going to do it right and then put it out. And honestly, the hardest part is going to be hooking up the AC disconnect and running it through.
That's yeah, Josh, that's wild. His girl, 7 years, just left him this weekend. He's broken, just turned 29 and sold his company and says she's scared of the money. He'll think we'll change her. I give up on females.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Wouldn't worry about it.
Nah. At least you know she's not a gold digger.
There you go.
So
someone asked if we have a guitar. I had to get rid of my guitar, but I don't have one anymore. I sold an Ibanez acoustic electric for $200 the other day. It was a steal.
This guy, But this guy he's just getting roasted in the comments, and I'm sorry for you, Joshua. Um, we're we're all tradesmen here.
You should try
Tradesmen
and
here.
no.
We're all tradesmen here, so this ain't exactly the place you're going to find sympathy, unless, of course, you look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. That'd be about the only place you're going to find sympathy here. But we do, at least it's for the people in the comments. I feel bad for you.
Um,
I can't help it. I'm just telling the truth. I don't have to worry. So one of the benefits of having this house is there's like no insulation in the walls of the garage, so I'll be fine.
yeah, you're gonna have
It'll
to
actually give me a chance to make to do something.
Hey, I'm live. Right back.
Frog on a wire. We are just messing with you, Joshua. Yeah, obviously.
Sorry. Nothing whiskey can't help. Seems like there's more to this story. Something's missing.
None of our business. We're men.
Yeah, right. We're men. There you go.
It's so funny because you were telling me something, and my wife was asking like me to ask you a bunch of questions, and I just gave her that look like, if he wanted me to know, he'd tell me. I ain't really the type of guy that's going to be asking probing questions about your feelings. I find I find the Den of Tools and Tool Review Zone very informative. They are not on tonight, so I had to watch you guys. Well, thanks, Creature, for pitying us and being here. We appreciate it. And I know you're kidding, but for the people that don't, like, they don't know shit. Like, we call them the Den of Fools and Total Retard Zone, and we mean
I put that ground rod in too fast yesterday. I honestly, you got to understand, man. My area, so I do electrical inspections for the city, so I know the geographical areas of how hard it is to drive a ground rod. I've been doing this for 9 years in this same city, so I know just about everywhere where it's hard to drive a ground rod. My backyard should be an area that has a lot of caliche, a lot of clay, and the occasional large rock out there. Sure. And we missed them all, man. We drove that sucker in 3 minutes without a tool.
Yeah, it's rough being competent at your job, actually knowing what you're doing. It's very hard.
It is very hard. There's one thing, man. I might have a lot of bloopers and stuff on this channel. I don't have any of electrical. Everything, once you start to be a master of your craft, you really just start to improvise on every little thing you start getting hung up on. It's a beautiful thing, man. After about 4 or 5 years, once you're doing the same thing, one morning you're just going to wake up and it's all going to click. And you're going to feel like just different from I remember the day it happened. I was building a museum, and I had my journeymans for about maybe 6 months, maybe 4 months. And one morning, man, and keep in mind, I already passed my test to get that journeyman. Right. So for everything to click after the test is supposed to prove what you know. But the test, the only thing a test does is tell you really don't know shit until you start actually having to work in the field and figure things out that's not on paper.
That's true.
That's all a test tells you, is that you don't actually know anything until you have to lead a crew and herd the cats and be responsible for the job. If we're talking projects, anyone know?
They actually sell a dye leak detector for HVAC, and you just have to put the dye in, and it'll show up. It's like a greenish dye that'll come around all of the fittings. And then what you're going to want to do is because you're going to end up have to redo it. You're going to have to redo the fittings because that's typically where they leak from. you're going to have to redo them. You're going to have to use a flaring tool, which they sell are very cheap. You can typically pick up a decent flaring tool for about $20. And
Yep.
most of those AC units, it's 1/4 and 1/2 inch line. So your I think it's your what is it, the Freon line, or the gas is the bigger one, and then there's your return line, which is the smaller one, the condensed
Yeah,
one.
your high side, low side suction, and whichever one it is. But you can actually rent that tool. I think
Oh,
free. Are they still free nowadays?
I don't know, but you could go to if you don't want to rent one, you can go to Harbor Freight and rent one and get all your money back at the end, which is what I'm going
After
to
you
do.
return that piece of shit.
Which is what I'm going to do when I hook up my outdoor AC unit. But it's not very hard. And also remember, when you redo the fittings, right, when you're putting them back together, you want to use nylon blue or Nylar blue to connect when you're putting them back together, because that is going to help seal that unit for the long run and also make the threads go on a little easier. So there you go. The M12 jigsaw, considering it for fine cuts. I don't have the M12 jigsaw.
I've got it.
I don't like a lot of Milwaukee's 12-volt woodworking tools, their sanders, their jigsaw, or whatever, because the handles are not comfortable to use
Look,
for fine woodworking.
if you want fine cuts, you can't have a barrel grip. I mean, you can, but what a
Check your
barrel
trade.
grip is good for is a quick cut that you can articulate, spin it in your hand like this, and not have to hold the trigger or cock your elbow or do something like that, and then finish it off with a sander. If you're trying to do like a finished, like fine cut, you need that trigger control first off. The Milwaukee jigsaw has an auto mode where it starts off really slow and then it finishes really slow, which is a nice touch, but you're going to need a D handle for fine cuts.
Yep.
I do prefer a barrel grip though, just because
It reminds them
you
of
can spin it
Sancho.
around and yeah.
It's tweet. I
Barrel
just
grips are
reviewed.
not good for used to being a pivot, man. I'll go get it for you. Hang on. I'll go get it.
All
I'll show
right.
you.
When you doing your wiring, so you have a real electrician number on your phone? No. Well, the funny thing is, like, and I said this to Tactics Coochie on his stream earlier this week. There is not a whole lot of things that you do in the trades that are all that difficult. They're just labor intensive, and they can be rather taxing, but they're not actually difficult. So running the line, it's not that difficult. Knowing how to do it, that's the difficult part. And luckily, I know how to do it. I like the M12 hammer drill and impact. Good for you. I like them too. Ohio Power Tool has a deal on the 3.5 stacked flex. You can get a barrel grip jigsaw. There you go. DeWalt palm sander. I do like the DeWalt sanders. What's up, Sarah? Weekend was good. The original M12 jigsaw was trash, but the newer fuel version is definitely better than the old one. Man, have you guys looked at I think it's the M18 barrel grip jigsaw. Coochie will remind me when he gets back on here and fixes whatever the hell he's doing over there. Fixing someone else's, yeah, that's true. Fixing someone else's BS is difficult. Your own electrical is making sure premium is up to date on the insurance. I don't have to worry about it. I really don't. I'll tell you what made me feel really good the other day. As men, we don't get a whole lot of compliments. Like, ever in our life, and we just kind of have to accept, like this idiot just bouncing around his microphone. But
Yeah.
we just have to accept that we are not going to get complimented all that much in life, and it rarely ever happens. Well, I got this mini split in the other day, and my wife, she's seen me do things around the house or whatever, and we're talking to a guy at Home Depot, and the guy's like, "Well, do you know how to do that?" And she looked at him and go, "He knows how to do everything." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know about everything, but I can certainly do quite a bit." But
So
that made me feel good.
nice. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then A. So what's
Yes,
good about A is that it starts off slow, speeds up, and then actually finishes slow, which is a really nice touch.
I'm with you, Jordan.
But this is about as good as it's going to get because there is no trigger control. Can we see? Yeah, we can see.
Thanks, Sharush.
So it's
Thank you,
nice.
Sharush. I appreciate that $2 super chat.
I was trying to get it to slow down, but it didn't slow down to the very end. So it's still not perfect, right? You can see where I was pretty much
Right.
finished the cut and I was waiting for it to slow down. I would have liked
Right.
to have seen it slow down during the curve, but it just wouldn't do it. So if we go to speed 1 here,
I'll be
and
honest with you. The better one, if you're going to get a jigsaw, just mark my words on this, take it to the bank. Get the Flex jigsaw.
with
Bear
the D
grip or
handle.
D handle, it doesn't matter. Either one, they are superior. Oh, too much.
It's kind of hard to show you on this piece because I don't have a.
I mean, we can't see what you're doing anyway, so it's
Yeah, I know.
perfect. Hey, Renegades snuck in?
There you go.
Yeah. I'm a Milwaukee guy, and honestly not impressed with that. I wouldn't be either. I don't like TTIs. They're woodworking tools for the most part. I don't like them. I think they're underdeveloped, I should say. He was popping breakers every time he switched on the lights. It just all worked when I left. Way to go, Jeff. By the way, Jeff, I apologize. You said something on one of my videos and I took it the wrong way. I apologize to you. Subpar, I agree. Would you suggest barrel grip or D handle flex? That is easy. Well, for me, I prefer the D handle because I like to be in a position where I can see. Now, this guy, he likes to grab something that looks like it's got a shaft and a big bulky like thing at the bottom of it and a big oversized head. Now, I'm not saying that makes him necessarily a participant in the opening ceremony of the Olympics, but you probably saw him painted blue.
The most time that I've ever really seen myself have to use a jigsaw is if you're doing like partitions or dividers inside of closets and you want to re-support the closet rod.
Yeah.
So you do like, you finish off. I need to back this up, but I don't know if this zoomed in so far. Where you might kind of curve the bottom and sweep it down so it doesn't look so boxy and so enclosed, and you're just doing like just some curves on a rectangle, pretty much, just to get rid of the hard edges and make everything look dressier. Or just like a finished round, whatever you're making, like nothing too intricate. The barrel grip, you're able to articulate it like this really easily. Where once you're holding that trigger, you don't have a choice but to cock your elbow in the air to make a turn.
Okay.
So with the barrel grip, you just go this. Done.
Right.
So
Sure.
I wanted to try the barrel grip. I cut some U-line packing cable from a post office that was demoed out. Very, very thick stuff with the rolled over edge. And I cut it like butter with that jigsaw. And then I figured I was going to try and break the shaft of the jigsaw,
Yeah.
or I was going to try to see if I could bog down the saw. So I started doing really stupid angles, trying to see, if I could
Oh,
do anything to the saw.
sorry,
And
but
it won't break. The saw doesn't break. The saw doesn't bog down. It just snaps the blade, and it doesn't even jar or jump. It just snaps the blade instantly if you try to do anything stupid. Or um, that's just what it does. It's so strong, man. The flex stuff is ridiculously powerful.
So, Ren, we're not in full screen anymore because YouTube told us that they prefer it this way.
There is no
And
trigger.
right.
This
And
is the trigger.
never mind.
Sorry.
You need some tool organization tips, tool box, tool chest, tool truck, tool organizers. Like what kind of tool organization do you want? Do you want portable? What's up, man?
I can't stop buying these, dude.
Ooh, this is a good question. Yeah, those are very good.
I love these.
James Shepard says, "I'm not someone who has to use a drill every day, but I do little things here and there. What basic set would you recommend that won't break the bank? If you're looking for basic, down bare bones basic for occasional use, you'd be hard pressed not to say ryobi. Like they're probably the best. They allow you to grow your game into other areas down the line, but budget friendly. They're right there. However, I would say you would go with rigid. The subcompact line is phenomenal. They don't take up a lot of space. They provide more power than the ryobi. You can do more with the rigid set, and you can typically find them for about $130 to $150 as a set with batteries, a charger, and a bag. If you go to Lowe's, Cobalt would be my call there. And if you got a Harbor Freight closest to you, skip Bauer entirely and go with Hercules, which is their professional grade line, but it is also the only line they're worth getting into because the rest of their stuff is just straight up booty trash. So I gave you the options for all three: Home Depot, Lowe's, and Harbor Freight. Tool bag soon. Frog on a wire. I plan on making my own tool bag soon. Bought the canvas, wax, and my lady has a sewing machine, so I'm set. Well, way to go, Frog.
That's pretty
And
cool.
I don't know if that guy answered, which we know, Ren, but it's literally YouTube asked us or told us not to do that anymore and to do this. So that's why we're doing it.
Yep.
Toolbox organization portable. Dude, no worries, James. So
Let's put it like this. You've got $1,000 camera. I've got several cameras and several things for the computer for live streams, and we don't use any of it.
It's
We
true.
use our stupid phones with this stupid format.
True.
Yeah. Enough said.
Now, if we don't want an audience, we can do it the other way, and we won't get an audience that way. So,
right.
Reasonable expectations. What do we both do as a tradesman? Well, let me answer the tool organization one first, and then we'll come back to that one, Trevor. So, as far as tool organization, look, you've got a lot of options out there, but there's only one real option if you're going to be in the trades full time. And I mean, like in the trades full time. And that's a Milwaukee pack out. Most expansive, best built, it's hard to argue with the pack out. Now, if it's just for around your home, or maybe it's in your tool van or in your work van or something, I would tell you to go with the rigid over dewalt.
I can't agree with you more. The rigid. So when you're doing construction, and this is already your organization, right? You've already got a $200 tool bag with all the storage here. You know, you got something like this where you've got maybe a Vito inside of a 3-ring here. This just goes straight into that rigid. When you're banging those boxes up each stair and you got 7 flights to climb, you know, and then the wheel falls off, which it never does. I've never had a rigid wheel fall off, for the record, anyway. And I beat the piss out of things like that for years and years and years. They're pretty much bulletproof, man. The rigid stuff is lifetime warranty. You don't have to worry about it. You put all your tools inside of it. It all fits, and you can take it anywhere you go, which is important because when you're actually on the job site, you need to take that stuff with you. You can't leave anything around.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Now, I have videos of my 280. At the time, I was actually probably 290. 290-pound fat self standing on top of the rigid box, and like it didn't give, it didn't crack, nothing. It was perfect. It was just fine. So that's saying quite a bit, because that means it can hold quite a bit of weight and no damage from that. I've also taken it on vacation because that's what my luggage is. I take it on vacation. By the way, the long box does fit into the overhead. Nobody else can get anything in there though. And you could even fit it onto the little belt thing at the airport, just in case anybody is wondering. But Trevor asked what we had done to get into the trades. So I'll start. I'm most known for doing solar, but I did commercial, industrial building, and home reno. So I spent some time.
Yeah. And I'm an electrician and electrical inspector now. Did about 10 years in the same company, about 9 years in the same company, with 5 years of industrial, 4 years of commercial, and 1 year of infrared.
Okay. Why wouldn't you get an audience? That way you, Ren. So when we do the widescreen format, we're lucky to get, I mean, on a good day, we're lucky to get 600 or 700 people in here to watch. And to give you an idea, tonight we've had over 7,000 already.
There you go.
So up the Starlink, the cellular. Oh, way to go, Sayer.
Many of those in Texas.
And then somebody asked us about what we thought of the Bauer pack out system. I think they called it plug and play.
Haven't messed with
And
it.
I'll be honest with you, if it's Bauer, it just in my mind, I automatically equate it to trash.
It's
whether it is or not, I don't know.
I don't know. Look, when you have your tools, sure, there's a thing where you don't want to be seen with the cheaper tools. And that's actually really important to your peers. Unfortunately, it is. Everything's like high school, right?
Right.
When you get to a job and it's your first day on the job and everyone's looking at you, they're looking at your tool bag and they're seeing what tools you have. And if you've got commercial electric or you've got this and that, you know, automatically it's too late for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to have, you know, the elite kind of style of tools that's going on. That's just it is what it is. There's a stigma about it and there's nothing you can do about it. If you don't have the tools like everybody else, you're just seen as less.
That's true. That's true. And I'll be honest with you, speaking as someone that in the 1990s went to school when Michael Jordan was in his prime playing basketball, having been a basketball player myself, and I wore Gorilla shoes when literally the brand name was Gorilla.
Yeah.
When all the other kids on the team were wearing Nike,
Mm-hmm.
they gave me shit about it, but I could outplay them. So
Well,
they
they
didn't really
probably didn't
give me
make
that.
Nikes in size mammoth.
Yes, they did. George got bigger feet than I do. Rigid subcompact hammer drill driver. Where are you getting $1,992, man? Or
For what?
$199? Cobalt NXT 24 drill and impact driver, $149. Okay, I'm going to dispute some of these prices, but all right. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. So if you get the rigid on sale, you're going to get the rigid on sale for less than what you're going to buy the Cobalt. But if you want to compare apples to apples and go Cobalt to rigid, the rigid outperforms that Cobalt in every way, shape, and form. It'll last longer. It's built better. It's more powerful, and it's faster. There you go.
Yeah. Someone said something about their Bucket Boss. Bucket Boss is well known. You
Dude,
can't deny
that's
the
what I use.
organization of a Bucket Boss. Bucket Boss is fine.
That's what I use out
one
there.
of my first journeymans that I went, because I went to go build a Fidelity, and we were working 712s, which was pretty nightmarish. But luckily, we were doing cable tray, and we just ended up with just a whole bunch of manpower. We had like 40 guys standing on ladders, and we're pulling cable, this large, and you're essentially just all you're doing is you're just picking up the weight of 50 pounds right here in your hand, and you're dropping it because the next guy's pulling it. So all you have to do, you have a tugger that's essentially pulling it, and all you have to do is just take the weight off of the tray. So as the cable makes its way to you, all you're constantly doing is just doing this, just getting the drag off of the tray essentially. And that was probably one of the first jobs that I started, was running cable tray and all that stuff for a data center. But
Right.
one of the journeymans, man, he didn't even have a bucket boss. He just had a bucket. And if he needed something, whoosh, everything on the floor. He must have dumped that thing out 40 times in one day.
Well, when I was doing solar, that's the only thing I carried was I had a bucket boss. But I'm also typically I'm carrying 40 pounds of fastener with me in that, and a drill, and a couple of screwdrivers. That's all I needed. Well, I
Yeah.
actually had a torque screwdriver.
I'm trying to think, man. Plumbers, I mean, they got big tools that you can't necessarily move around, like threaders and things like that. Crimpers, pretty heavy, things like that. Those only just got introduced into the game, the pneumatic ones and all that in the last 10, 15 years. Actually, no, that's man, I can't believe I've been doing this for this long.
You're
The
old.
last 30 years, right? For crimpers and
Right.
stuff. So I don't want to just, put me in the spotlight as an electrician, but I feel like electricians have like the most tools. Who has the most tools?
Who has the most tools?
Yeah, which trade has to have the most tools?
Plumber.
You think it's a plumber?
Yeah. Plumber's got to go through every type of surface there is. They have to go outside. They have to they have to dig. They have to have hammers, screwdrivers. They have to have cutting equipment because that stupid electrician doesn't know how to put shit in the way, even though it's all marked before they go there.
Yeah, that's true.
So they have to have that. I mean, literally everything that a plumber uses is some kind of specialty tool.
Mechanics have the most tools. That's probably true. Mechanics probably do.
Yeah, but they don't count because they don't leave their building. Jesus Christ, mechanics.
HVAC has a lot of tools. See, I was thinking it was HVAC. If I had to pick who has to carry around the most tools, it'd probably be HVAC.
I don't know, like, you ever seen a plumber that didn't have a fully loaded truck? Or van?
No, but I feel like a lot of stuff they can do is like wrenches. and the same as electrical.
You ever seen a plumber use a wrench? Like a
Yeah,
basin wrench? They have a basin wrench. They have a specialty wrench just for the
yeah, you got
faucet.
about 40 different wrenches. I wish I had that wrench the other day, dude. I was dying underneath that sink the other day.
Should have just asked. I got 3 of them.
Oh, you should just sent it over.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
should have just stopped by and picked it up.
it's funny, man. Nobody, the QA/QC is so downhill. The other day I did that live, and all the connections inside that light were loose, right?
Yeah,
And it was the same thing with this stupid faucet, man. Everything was like, for tight. Like no one actually tightened anything. And then
right.
once I hook up the one thing that you're supposed to tighten, the thing internally started leaking inside, and it has like 7 different fittings and all this plumbing inside of the fixture itself. Like, why wasn't it just one hose that went to the spigot? You know, from where it was like 4 different things that tied together and had spots to leak, and I had to rebuild the whole freaking thing.
Makes perfect sense to me. So, in case anybody's wondering, I did see the back and forth about whether Milwaukee or DeWalt dominates the plumbing industry. I can tell you, it ain't even close right now. It's DeWalt.
What is MJ fittings? Have you ever put together MJ fittings? I don't know what MJ fitting is. I've done medium voltage cable. That's a whole nother. Not just anybody can, do that.
What trade has the fewest tools?
Painter.
Drywall.
Well, the painter is the drywall, right?
Yeah, sometimes, not all
You're
the
not
time.
making money if you're a drywall guy on a construction
That's true.
site and they got
That's
another
true.
painting company. You done left money on the table.
That's true, but there are guys out there that's all they do. So just a straight up drywaller. What do they got? They got like freaking some knives and those big pans. I will not do drywall for anything. I hate it.
It just
I know
takes
how
a
to
lot
do
of
it. I just
time.
hate it. I hate
Yeah,
it.
I hate it too.
That's it.
My
Is that all the
drywall hammer
questions you
is
guys
called his fist.
said? Have you ever watched Steve Lavenmere
I don't
here
know
on
what MJ
YouTube? He's
fitting
a
is.
plumber, HVAC. He has tons of tools. I've never heard of him. I don't watch plumbing videos, to be honest with
Mechanical
you.
joint fittings like fire lines. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Those are pretty big, I'd imagine.
Had an old lady stick a plastic fork in your crack.
Is the MJ the ones that bolt on that are red to go around the plumbing pipe?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You know Steve in person? Well, that's good.
We have separate hangers, finishers, and we paint ourselves. I don't know why
There you
you
go.
paint yourself. You're supposed to paint the wall. I'd love to learn to do drywall and be good at it.
It's not that hard to learn. It is hard to be very good at, and
Patience is like
by the time you learn to be very good at it, you're already sick of it.
what trade uses the first aid box the most?
Electrician. Every time they get a splinter, they're over there. they're taping themselves up like.
Oh man.
Actually,
you know what?
making sure
No,
it's
probably not.
disinfected.
We have electrical tape. That's like the best Band-Aid ever, dude. I've cut myself so bad with the mandolin, where you're cutting vegetables.
Yeah, mandolin,
I've cut like that much of my, I'd have to show you from the other side. I've cut like that much of my thumb off before.
A lot of girls do that same thing. I was watching like a Gordon Ramsay program the other day, and some broad did that too. Just means that neither one of you should have been using the tool.
My wife started and she was cutting really fast, and it like scared me. I was like, whoa, let me do that. And then I was going really fast with it.
What trade uses the tweezers the most? HVAC guys have to use the tweezers every time they go to the bathroom.
When I pick up a broom.
He actually took today off for a bellyache. Wait, who?
I don't know.
Yeah, I swear. When I was on site, you couldn't find an electrician that didn't have some kind of bandage on their body somewhere. And I could tell you, like when we were doing when we're doing the actual building or whatever, you get a sliver in it, right? First of all, if it's long enough, you just pull it out. If it's in there deep, you just say fuck it and go on with your day.
I tell you what,
you
man,
just don't pay any attention to it.
splinters never bothered me. Just father being a woodworker and just wood, But you do like you thread and pipe with aluminum rigid or something, or just rigid in general. You get these little splinters that you don't even know. They'll be on the end of your tape measure because you got a tape measure with magnets, or maybe your helper will have a tape measure with magnets. And you're trying to get this measurement, so you go, grab his tape measure, do a pull.
Yeah.
And dude, those things, man, they are. I don't know. It's like a stop button. As soon as you push on that splinter, like your whole body's just like, oh, hey, can't do that. It's kind of like sciatic nerve. Whenever something's like, cramp it up in your bag and you move just right and your whole body's like comes to a full stop, It's kind of like that when you get one of those metal splinters that are like this small.
Yeah. Joshua couldn't be here tonight. Worst is the black slivers.
I agree that Morgan, every once in a while you reach in that box and get one of those.
Yeah. That is terrible. I'll admit that is terrible.
It's pretty much the same thing that you get from it's the same type of splinter.
Sayer, that's a big drill though. Then if you're half of it. The worst is the middle splinter in the eye from the grinder or saw. It's never good. That's true.
I've heard so many horror stories of that.
Trevor wants to know what kinds of jobs did you do? And I'm guessing he meant you were an electrician, and I was a builder and a solar guy.
What kinds of jobs? Yeah, there you go. White Wave, Nestle Waters, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, redistribution in museums, built 3 hospitals ground up, in charge of 3rd through 5th floor.
I do, Howie, but it's only because I know you're going to be around.
Did infrared for a little bit. Bunch of production, palletizers, production lines, conveyors, PLCs, things like that. Oh, and then I did, a couple of years of residential, which is just like a vacation.
Yeah, easy stuff.
Yeah.
Shaka with the line of the night. I can't read it, but I agree with it.
Okay.
And together, what? Oh, we're the adult version of Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Baby. It's just been like the whole
Shaka.
Yeah, I said it was hilarious. Line of the night. And also true.
You heard what I said about the ground rod at the end when I drove it.
Yes.
It's still monetized. It's still monetized.
Because it's true. They can't demonetize you for telling the truth. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing that I've seen dudes lose their finger.
Oh, man.
Well, multiple fingers from the table saw. But I think the worst accident I ever saw was a dude took a bucket, like front loader bucket, to the back of the cranium.
Oh, he's not with us anymore, right?
No. But the worst part is like the operator. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but the operator didn't see him. And the body went another maybe 8 feet on it before anybody could stop him. And I think that's the worst accident I've ever seen. Like live accident. The worst thing that's ever happened to me was getting a nail through my foot. That's about the worst accident that's ever happened to me personally, but the worst one I ever saw.
4, I put a 4-inch nail through my foot. When I was 8, I put a 2-inch. I get hurt a lot, dude.
Poor Rodney doesn't have a mirror around his house.
I was pushing some wire into a conduit I had no business trying to shove in there. It legally fit, but Just because it legally fits doesn't mean you should, put 13 number 10 solids into a 1-inch conduit.
True.
And it was about 150 foot long, and I'm feeding this thing in, and the edge of my finger right here catches the corner of that box.
No worries, James.
And as soon as it happened, like, I just knew it was deep, right? Just kind of, when you don't feel anything, but you know it's bad, it's bad. So I just put my finger over it like this, and I walked to the office, and I was like, "Hey, John, can I get a Band-Aid?" And he was like, "What, did you get a little cut?" I was like, "Maybe." I let go of my finger, dude. It just starts to just shooting. I was like, "Can I get a Band-Aid now?" I wrapped black tape on it, man, and that fixed it.
That's all you need. Black tape, spit, and mud. Those are the only 3 things that you need. Somebody asked where you can buy Pack Out. I want to say William I. Pack Out can be purchased at Home Depot, Ace
Acme.
Hardware, Amazon, Acme, Ohio Power Tools.
Probably Northern.
Oh, yeah, Northern Tool does carry it. There's tons of places that you can buy it. Oh, no. The home inspector in Arizona is getting mega heat from Nationwide Builder for telling the truth about their shoddy building.
Here's the thing. He's not just telling the truth. He's got his phone like this. He's showing all the shoddy building. He's like, "I don't want to tell you where I'm at, but," and then he'll put the camera to his face, and then it'll have their sign
Logo
where he's at right there and he's putting it on the internet. It's like, dude, you're just do your job, and do your job. Don't keep score. Do your job. Is it right or wrong? If it's wrong, write it up and go do the next one. Stick to your job. It's not hard. You don't need to be doxing and outing these people. Do it behind closed doors.
Honestly, I'm kind of with the inspector on this one, only because there's so much shoddy work out there.
Okay, but he's a fool if he didn't know they weren't going to come after him.
And letting people know that, first of all, is he misrepresenting anything? Is what he's saying not true?
It could be defamation of character, though.
Is it defamation of character? No. If you're telling the truth, right, it is not defamation of character. Defamation of character would be saying something that's untrue.
All these home builders, right, they are relying on their trades. If you're building a home as a GC, yeah, you should be delivering a good product, but you're relying on the inspections. The dude's just crying because he's having to write this up 1,000 times. Fee him and move on, okay? The GCs can only build what they can do with the tradesmen they got on the job site. He can call out the electricians for shoddy work and call that company, but he's not. He's calling the GCs crappy. He's catching it. They're fixing it. He needs to do his job. They should be glad to have you. Thanks for doing your service. Do your job.
I agree with you that that's what he should be doing, but nothing that he is doing. Is he, first of all, is he like a city employee? I don't know who the dude is.
I don't know. I don't know.
So if he's not a city employee, if he's a third party inspector, then there is absolutely nothing he's doing wrong, other than maybe
destroying his reputation.
Is he destroying his reputation?
I wouldn't hire him if he's going to out whatever I do if I make a mistake. You're allowed to make mistakes.
I don't know. I watch Gold Star inspections all the time.
Jordan says he's a private inspector.
Yeah.
I
watch him. I watch him all the time. He shows shoddy work. He never mentions anybody. He shows shoddy work all the time, like all of the time. And I would love to know, like, if he was in my area, he's a Texas boy, by the way. If he was in my area, I would love to know as a consumer who these companies are, so I wouldn't hire them. So in that regard, he might be doing a service to the people that are there.
But he's a fool if they didn't think he was going to get sued. He deserves to be sued. He doesn't deserve to lose. But he deserves to be sued. He deserves to have them come at him.
Is there any information that he is giving that is wrong?
Like I said, defamation of character, because that doesn't necessarily
is
affect the general
that is not
contractor.
what he is doing. Is not defamation of character. The general contractor, uh, just like a general agent in an insurance agency, is ultimately responsible for the people they hire. So a general agent is responsible for the crew that he puts out. The general agent is also responsible for going behind that crew and making sure that that job site is up to their standards. When they don't do that and they accept subpar work, they are, in essence, saying, good enough for us. Or our favorite saying on the job site is, looks good from my house.
Um,
They're
yeah, but
responsible. The guy that's doing the inspection that goes through and says, hey, this is shoddy work. He's writing up a report citing all of these things. He has to. That's his job. He's also putting it out on the internet. Not his job, but he is putting it out on the internet for people. And guess what? Nothing that he says in that, unless he is being purposeful, misleading, or he is saying things that are not true, none of that is defamation of character. It's not even liable. It's not even slanderous. It's true.
what if does he have a right to just put it out there on the internet? Like, who's doing it?
He's his own business owner. It's part of his job. It's part of his business. Yeah, he
No.
can put it out. He owns it.
All right. Well, back to my first point, because I wasn't trying to argue that point. My
Right.
point is the dude's a fool if he didn't think that anyone's coming after him. That was my first point. I was going to try to play devil's
There.
advocate on that. I agree with you on all that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
He is. Yeah. So Frog on a Wire said he's not ruining their reputation if he's not lying. I mean, he's got video of it. You'd be hard pressed to say he was lying.
yeah.
And yeah, the contractor, the GC, is responsible for all subcontractors. So
Right, but that subcontractor can still schedule their own inspection, hoping that a different inspector will show up without the list.
Well, let's look at the alternative. You and I both have done this for a long time, and I know that a general contractor, especially today, will tell people they don't need an inspection done, and they'll just write off on it, or they'll just sign off on it, or they'll recommend an inspector that gets paid directly from the builder. And then the builder is sending some guy in, and he's doing, we used to call it a good old boy inspection, right? He'd walk onto the site, he'd look around, he'd spend 5 minutes, he'd chat you up, you'd take him to lunch, he'd write up a good report saying everything's fine. And then in 10 years, the homeowner finds out that the house has fallen down and the foundation's cracking, and they didn't use the stringers, the hangers right. They didn't do anything. So all of the folks that are out, like, that's the alternative. Which one would I go with? Give me the prick if I'm the homeowner, the buyer,
Right.
and then give me the good old boy if I'm the builder, I guess. Actually,
Yeah, no,
I
I agree with all that, but
probably go with the other guy anyway.
The internet is getting way too comfortable, content creators included, with talking shit to random strangers and not being able to get hit in the head.
True. It's true.
So,
but he's not talking shit. He's there. He's there. That is his job.
he's kind of whining about it and complaining about it.
So, well, okay. Is anything that he says wrong?
Not that I've seen. No. I mean, you got cracked windows. The aluminum welds are cracked.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all bad stuff.
Is he the dude like with the big hat that's got like the
I
fans
think
or
it
whatever
is.
in it?
I think so.
The dude that walked over and like pushed on a wall and like the whole wall moved. It was a cinder block wall, and like the whole top of the wall moved. Yeah, that's important information for people to know.
Yeah. I don't know if you need to call out the whole, company doing it though, out loud.
I, I don't have a problem with it.
You don't have a problem with it?
Nope.
I just think that he
If
should
you
have seen a
find out,
lawsuit coming a long time ago. Like I
I-
said, he deserves to
if
win
you're a,
it, but he
if you're
deserves to also be in it.
yeah, if you're a general contractor and you see that dude show up on site, you butthole puckers and you make sure shit's done right, right?
Yeah. It's not a big deal. It's the place to determine. It's his job to call problems out.
Yeah.
Isn't
As an
his place to determine.
as an inspector yourself, your job is kind of lined up with bitching.
It is. It is, but I did it for 3 years, essentially showing problems. Nobody knows who the contractors are.
Right.
The stuff that I was showing was so close. Okay. HR went through all my stuff. Okay. I got in a lot of trouble. Right.
Who is Richard?
HR went through all my stuff and scrubbed it all, trying to find something. And they're like, damn, you've done such a good job here. This could be anywhere. This could be any city. This could be any contractor.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Can't
yeah, I'm not an idiot. I knew that if I did something that I would probably be in deep trouble if somebody saw something they didn't like. But guess what? I didn't post anything inflammatory. I didn't say anything judgmental. And I didn't dox or call out anybody. I said, this is a problem. What do you guys think? Or this is a problem. This is the code book why it's wrong. I don't see any of that on his channel. I see him, look at this. This is fucked up, whatever. And that's the end of that. There's no resolution to it. There's nothing about it.
My name is not Richard. It's
No,
Robert.
we're both Robert.
Same as his.
Yeah.
Sure, the customer is getting their money's worth. So can I, as an electrical inspector, and I don't know,
Yeah.
can a homeowner get a copy of an inspection report if they ask for it from the city
Yes.
of the work that you do?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see the difference.
He's calling out on the internet for everyone to see and making a big deal about it.
Yeah. I don't.
I don't know. We're still very new. This whole atmosphere of calling people out on the internet and posting whatever you want is still a very new
I understand.
thing.
I understand.
But I already knew it was obvious, right? What you should and shouldn't do. Clearly, this guy didn't, so he's a fool.
And Sharish wants me to read. If it hasn't been said in a while, I feel I have to say it. Makita sucks. We agree with you.
And has the project
1,000%.
fix anything? It's his job to inspect, not to repair. Oh, there's nothing constructive going on, is all I'm saying. He's not doing anything constructively.
Well, look, is it doxing? If a home like there's Angie's List, if that's still around. I don't know if it is or not, but there are plenty of websites that you can go and get your contractor reviewed or see reviews of your contractor. And I'll be honest with you, like you and I, we're in this game. We've been in this game for a long time. 3 years, 3.5 years almost.
Yeah.
We've been in this game for a long time. A lot.
Sorry,
he's getting
my back's doing something weird.
Oh, I thought it was your mangina, a menstrual cramp.
Mangina's clearing up.
A lot of the comments that we get on our videos are people that are just there to bitch. Right?
Yeah.
But they call us out by name. I had a guy tell me that he knows me personally. And I'm like, what's my name? Right? He didn't know it. So he didn't know me personally. But That's just all right. It's one of those things that these dudes go out there and a lot of the people that are leaving the comments, they're leaving the comments directly about whomever they used. As far as on Angie's List or any of the trade websites that you can go to and find a contractor, they're leaving those comments there, and it's directly about them. I think you would benefit if an inspector was on there, like leaving, hey, this one, especially if they're a third party, they're independent.
Right.
They're not hired by anybody.
Right. To address the doxing thing, that's the wrong word for it. Yeah, there's nothing, he's not doing anything legally wrong here.
Mitchell, you can use either one, but if
it's
the
more
guys that you're
morally
working with use Milwaukee.
morally wrong. So they can still sue him if they hurt his feelings or if he hurt their feelings. Like I said, he doesn't deserve to lose, but he deserves a lawsuit. Hang on, there's something else here. Should use rigid in Milwaukee. You're
I
probably
just
going to say
answered him.
rigid. Oh, what'd you say?
No. I said if
Milwaukee.
the guys you're working with use Milwaukee, then use Milwaukee.
Right. I would
Yeah.
I would just say Milwaukee. I used Milwaukee for too long. It did let me down, but you just buy another one. That's just the way it is. I think they all let you down eventually.
Yeah.
The batteries are absolutely solid.
Sayer just admitted to working in inspectors.
All right. I knew it.
He's the Canadian Sancho, apparently.
There's inspectors I work in.
Yeah, I don't think any of these contractors are going to beat this guy. I don't think he has anything to worry about in court.
I always preferred a different brand, so no question whose tool.
Robert and
whose.
Squirrel. There was another one. Creature said, "What Makita is the best? Why do you keep dogging it? We have proven far from the best. Like they're absolute dog shit for what you get."
Yeah.
It's my opinion based in fact.
Your opinion
There.
based in fact. You need to get a shirt that says that.
Yeah. He loses. No, actually, he'll just end up countersuing for the cost of
It's still
whatever
time,
the
man. You can't
fees
get your
are.
time back. I'd be so pissed if that was me. No, it
I
definitely
mean,
sucks. But the
he's
fact,
making
if he
his
didn't
money out
see
of
it
it.
coming, he's a fool. I don't know if he's making money out of it. You think so? Think he's getting more famous?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm sure he is.
Well, he better be on his P's and Q's, man. He better know his stuff. Everyone's gonna look up his certs and figure out where this guy came from. Does he really know what he's talking about, or is he just looking at everything else he's seen before?
Well, let me ask you a question. So, I watched a video a while. I don't even know how long ago it is, 'cause that's how Alzheimer's works. I don't have any real recollection of time.
Okay.
But I watched a video of a roofing company. They're on the roof with an insurance adjuster.
Right.
The insurance adjuster is saying that the roof is fine and blaming the roofing company that's out there of breaking tiles because they're trying to lift up the tiles to see if they're cracked, they're damaged. So they're lifting them up to see if it's just from like weather damage, like hail or whatever. And the insurance adjuster is saying that they're not doing it right. So these roofing guys are up there, the State Farm adjuster, and they're saying, well, why don't you show us how to do it?
Right.
Right. And he's like, no, it's not my job. I'm not going to do that. But that you're not doing it right. And they're going, well, you can see the damage here, here. But you're saying that that's not covered because when you lift up the shingle cracks, which is a sign that, I mean, anybody that's ever done it, they know that is a
Right.
sign that roof needs to be, like the shingles need to be replaced, the roof needs to be redone. But because the insurance company is saying that they are not doing it correctly, this ended up getting on like local television, and then the insurance company had to acquiesce. Now, knowing that who the adjuster was working for, because they said it multiple times, and he was wearing the shirt that said State Farm on it, right? And the roofer is the one that put the information out there.
Right.
Was he doing anything wrong?
So there's not multiple videos of that roofer whining about the same company over and over and over, going to the same place and
I don't
constantly
think so.
saying these guys suck. So no, it's no different. I'm just saying this guy has it coming. He doesn't deserve to lose, but he has it coming. You play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. That's a stupid thing to do.
Okay.
It's a service that he's doing. Don't get me wrong, but don't be surprised. If you keep poking the dog and the dog bites you, you know.
Right. I suppose, but
And
no.
and the dog is known for biting because the dog sucks. And you want to get it on camera that the dog sucks. And you stick your hand in the cage and you're like, oh, goddamn dog bit me. Look, I got on camera.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I don't know what he's expecting.
Right. Gavin, you're probably right. And Morgan said that the insurance adjuster said that they wouldn't pay him to remove the trim and replace it because you could just slide the new floor underneath. That's an adjuster that's really bad at his job. Was that
a
State Farm, by the way?
catastrophe? The cat eye catastrophe investigator? Investigation analyst? Is that what that is? Cat IA?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Okay.
And not indicative, in that video is not indicative of 90% of property claims involving laminated shingles. No.
Too much
you might be right.
going on
I
the
don't know.
stream.
Catastrophic. Well, and so all right.
Adjuster. Thanks.
You guys are lucky like that I'm here because I have my feet in both worlds. Having both worked in the trades for several years and then doing insurance for several years at the same time for most of it. So first of all, in a catastrophic event, that is acts of weather, whether it flood, hurricane, tornado, hail.
Sudden things, right? Sudden things.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
So what'll happen is the governor or the president of the United States, the governor of the state or the president of the United States will declare a state of emergency, right? Or a disaster area. When that happens, right, the federal government, in all their infinite wisdom, will back up the insurance companies on those claims. Little known fact here. Right?
Yeah.
So what'll happen is the insurance company will send out mobile units to that area. They'll get your address, make sure that your premiums were paid up to date. And if you were in that zone during that catastrophe and your premiums were up to date, they automatically, by de facto, will pass that claim. It'll just be automatic. It's catastrophe, right? Now, that's why you'll see, like in areas like where I live in the Midwest, when there is a hailstorm that goes through, because we get them 2-3 times a year. When there's a hailstorm that goes through,
right.
You'll get
Let me say bye to Sayer real quick.
Bye, Sayer.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. See you later, Sayer. Thank you.
You'll get all of these fly-by-night roofing companies that come up ironically enough, from Texas here in the Midwest, other parts of the country, if you're in other parts of the country. And they will have somebody come out to your house. They'll get up on your roof, whether there's damage or not, and they'll just tell you that there is damage. They'll go to your insurance company and go, there is X amount of dollars damage on this house.
Yes, we heard
And
it.
then the insurance company, because it's considered a catastrophe, part of a catastrophic event, will just go "Doot, doot, doot, doot," and write out the check and send it to your fly-by-night guy who, I mean, it's in the homeowner's name, and this is important for the homeowner to do. Do not give your fly-by-night contractor the money. What you do is you put it into an escrow account. And then as that job is completed, other than enough money to provide him with materials to do the job, if he needs it, and a good contractor won't,
Right.
then that money sits there and neither the homeowner nor the contractor can touch that money. So, and then at the end, when all the work is done, to the satisfaction of the homeowner and the insurance company, whom the insurance company is trusting the homeowner to be happy with their own home.
Who has control of the
That's when
escrow?
it
The
will.
homeowner does.
If you're really smart about it, you're going to get a lawyer to handle the escrow account. Because that takes all of the parties out of it. It's an
Right.
independent person. It takes all of the parties out of it, and they'll be doing what is legally right for, well, the homeowner. And that's exactly
Yeah.
what you should do. And if you're not doing it that way, then you are doing yourself a huge disservice.
It's at least every, I would say 30 jobs, right? But I might look at 30 jobs a day.
Way to
On
go, Big
average,
Red.
15 to 20. I would say it's probably about a month in between. So let's just say every 400 jobs, I hear of somebody that has a contractor run off with them with tens of thousands of dollars. Happens all the time.
Way to go, Gavin. It does. It does. Like, people getting ripped off by a contractor is really common.
Yeah.
Really common. And yeah, I advise anybody that's getting work done by a contractor to do it the right way. And most people don't know what the right way is. They couldn't find their right way if you gave them a map on how to do it.
Yeah. Sometimes I see stuff that's so bad that I'll call the contractor directly and try to work with them to try to coax them into doing it right so they don't run off with the money. Like, I'll see some stuff that's so jacked up, they may as well restart and probably even do more than that to fix it. And it's like, hey, let me meet you on site and let's, tell you exactly what to do and how to do it.
Right.
And I've found that when I meet somebody on site,
Sure.
they get a little bit more accountable.
It's true. That is true. That's, you know what, finding a good contractor today is getting very hard.
It's hard, man. And then,
Finding at least one that'll show up isn't always hard, but
yeah,
sometimes. Way to go, Big Red. That's what you're supposed to do. If you know how to do it yourself. All right, guys, we're out of here. We've taken way too much of your Sunday, and the Olympics are on, and I think Simone Biles is flipping through the air right now, and we need to go support the greatest American female athlete of all time.
I agree with that, Milkman. Yeah.
So we're going to get out of here. Need a good nonprofit Consumer Reports type advocacy group. I like that idea, Milkman. And do me a favor, ask boss when he's going to buy his own tools. He doesn't have to keep borrowing his wife's tools. All right. All right, guys, we're out of here. So if you're new here, we end the show the same way every time. Do you want to take one and I'll take the other?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what you're saying.
For all you
But
makita guys out there, don't forget. Blow them like you know them.
and for the rest of you, manscape like you landscape. If you trim your bush, your deck will always look big. And with that, we're out of here. Take care, guys, and we'll see you next Sunday.
We'll see you guys later.